first chapter measurement. What do we study in this chapter? That is all about the measurement. What do we mean by measurement? What is measurement? Measurement, right? This word we commonly use in everyday life. Measurement, right? This word is commonly used. So what do we exactly mean by the measurement? Let's say you measure the length of this board. What activity do you do in measuring the length of this board? So most probably you will take a measure tape, right? And then you will measure the breadth of this board. If I ask you to measure the height of this board, again you will make use of the measure tape, right? So how will you specify your measurement in the words? So measurement is what? Measurement means it is defined as it is a comparison. It is a comparison, right? When you do the measurement of the breadth of this board, you are comparing. What you are comparing? You are comparing the meter scale with the board. Whatever marking you get, that is the breadth of this board. So measurement means it is a comparison. Comparison with what? Comparison with a standard quantity. Standard quantity, right? So meter tape, it is a one standard quantity. It is a government approved. So with that we do measurement. Do you make any measurement with the help of your hands? Let's say you want to measure the 1 meter of the cloth. So how do you measure? You measure it with your hands? That is wrong. That is not government approved. That is absolutely wrong. You cannot do measurement such way. Only you can do measurement with the standard quantities which are commonly used, right? And the one which are approved by the government. So measurement means it is a comparison with a standard quantity. If I write down very precisely, then then the definition will be it is a comparison of unknown quantity with a known standard quantity, right? So this is the exact definition of the measurement, right? Our measure tape, the one which we use, that is a known standard quantity, and this board, its breadth we do not know, that is a unknown quantity, right? So measurement, it is a comparison of unknown quantity with a known standard quantity. Now when you note down the measurement, how will you specify the measurement? Let's say you measure the width of this board or the breadth of this board. So how will you note down the breadth of this board? So breadth, let's say you got it as 1 point, or let's say you got it as 98 centimeter, right? This is what the measurement, this is how you will note down that the breadth of the board is 98 centimeter. So again we have a conclusion here. What is the conclusion? That the measurement has two parts. Measurement has two parts. One is numerical value and other one is a unit, right? This is most important. The measurement, it has two parts. The first part is numerical value and other part is a unit. Unit, it is also called as a standard quantity. It is also called as a standard quantity, correct? I have said here it is a comparison. What is measurement? It is comparison of unknown quantity with a known standard quantity. So this known standard quantity, this standard quantity, it is also called as a unit, right? So about the measurement, this is the definition of a measurement, and the measurement always contains numerical value and a unit, right? Then what are the most common measurements you make in everyday life? So most commonly we do the measurement of time, right? Mostly everyone does the measurement of the time. We always see the clock, what time it is, right? So measurement of the time is a crucial we can say crucial task of our life, measurement of the time. So how do you measure time? Obviously we make use of the clock, we see into the clock what time it is, but measurement of the time in the earlier days, it was made with the help of the pendulum. Pendulum was the first device which was used to measure the time. I hope you know what is pendulum, right? A bob suspended from the rigid support and it keeps on oscillating. So pendulum was used to measure the time in the earlier days, and then came the clocks, right? There were also the sand clocks. Sand clocks, if you have seen, sand clocks were also used to measure the time. This pendulum and sand clock, they gave approximate value of the time. We could not measure exact seconds, but later on, as the science came into existence and the technology advanced, we got clocks. Then we have a most accurate clocks which are called as digital clocks, and above the digital clocks we have much more accurate clocks which are called as atomic clocks. What is atomic clock? Obviously we don't use in our everyday life. Atomic clock is a most accurate, most precise clock which exists in the world now. Atomic clock, it is present in the USA and it measures time very accurately. The clocks which we use, digital clock or the clock one which we see on the wall, they don't do measurement as accurately as the atomic clock can do, right? So measurement of the time, earlier days pendulums were used, sand clocks were used, then came the clocks, then came the digital clocks, and the most accurate we have a atomic clock. Then what other measurement you do in your everyday life? Measurement of length. Length also we most commonly measure in our everyday life, right? We measure the length of a cloth, we measure our own height, right? So measurement of the length on earlier days was done using the foot, right? With the help of the legs, foot, they measured the width of the plot, depth of the plot. Then they used then they made use of the hand. I was showing you, like, this is the 1 meter, but that was the time when we did not have meter scale or we did not have a measure tape. So these were the earlier methods to make the measurements. Then now we have a meter scale, right? Meter scale do the measurement up to 100 centimeters or maybe up to 200 centimeters. Then we have a measure tape. Measure tape you might have seen mostly with the construction workers, right? It can do measurements up to 10 to 15 meters or maximum 20 meters. Then we have a chains. These chains are used to measure the length which are in the kilometer. Let's say road, if you want to measure the length of the road, then chains are used. These chains you can see with the civil engineers. They make use of the chain. So that is about the measurement of the length. What is the unit of the length? What is the most commonly used unit of the length? Meter. We measure the length in the meter. And similarly, time, most commonly used unit for the time is second. You must remember these units. They are very important. Seconds. Then here for length we have meter. Then what else do you measure most commonly? So next we have measurement of mass, right? We go to buy vegetables, we go to buy grocery, right? The mass is measured in the pans. So measurement of the mass, which device we use to make the measurement of the mass? Earlier days they used stones to measure the mass, but nowadays we have a standard weights we have to measure the mass, and also we have a digital weighing machines which gives the mass to the most accuracy. So measurement of the mass, right? Again, to measure the mass, scientific instrument. Which is the scientific instrument which measures the mass? Beam balance. Beam balance is a scientific instrument. It is used in labs to measure the mass more accurately. Digital weighing machines or standard weights, they give mass approximately. They don't provide us mass exactly to the grams or milligrams, but you know, in the laboratories when we make medicines, right, or when we work with some complex or very sensitive material, and the time at which we need the measurement of milligrams or nanograms, that time the beam balance is used. In advanced word, beam balance is also called as physical balance. This physical balance is not exactly similar to the one which you see with the vegetable vendors, the one which vegetable vendors use. One side they keep the weight and other side they keep vegetables. That is also a physical balance, but the physical balance which is used in laboratory is very complex. If you ever visit a gold shop, right, there if you see, then how do they measure gold? There is a glass case. Inside that glass case they measure the gold. So that glass casing and the inside arrangement is a physical balance. It's similar to the one which we see with the vegetable vendors, but it is more accurate. What is the unit in which we measure the mass? Kilogram. Kilogram, not gram. It is kilogram, right? So these are the standard measurements which we carry out in our everyday life. And then next thing we have, next topic which we have is unit. Unit. Here I introduce the word unit. So about unit we have a much more detailed discussions in the physics. So what is a unit? So definition of a unit is, it is a standard quantity used for comparison. That is the definition of a unit, right? Standard quantity used for the comparison, it is called as a unit. Let us see the unit for time, length, mass. So what is the unit of time? Unit of time I have already specified here, right? Time, its unit is seconds. Then what is the unit of length? I have already specified, it is in meters. Obviously we have hour, we also have minute, but in physics time is measured in seconds, length is measured in meters, compulsory. And then the mass, it is measured in terms of the kilograms, right? Then something more about the unit. You see weights, 1 kg weights with the vegetable vendors, right? They compare and give us the vegetables. Then when you go to buy a cloth, right, so they also do measurement with the help of a meter scale, and they compare and deliver you the cloth. So what are those weights, what are those scales? They are called as a standard quantities, right? If you do measurement with your hand, is your hand a standard quantity? No, your hands may be small, my hand is large enough. If someone more taller than me, his hands are much more longer, right? So as I said, the weights used for by the vegetable vendors, then the meter scale used by the cloth merchant, they are all standard quantities. So from where does these standard quantities come? The standard quantities, they are defined very well. From where these standard quantities have come? They have been made by scientists. They have identified some perfection, that okay, this one will be called as 1 kg, okay, this much will be called, exactly this much will be called as 1 meter. So how those exact 1 meter or how that exact 1 kg weight has come into existence? So to understand that, how the meter scale came into existence, how the 1 kg came into existence, we need to understand the one more topic, which is a characteristics of a unit. So the word itself specifies that unit must have some properties. Why don't we use our hand to measure the meter scale, right? Why don't we use our hand to measure the weight? So the reasons will be explained here. So characteristics of a unit. So first characteristics of a unit, it must be constant, does not change with time, and non-perishable. So this is the first point regarding the characteristics of a unit. It should be constant. Constant in the sense it should not change with the time. So let's say hand, if you take, obviously hand is going to change with the time, right? As I said here that the length was measured with the foot, so width of the foot will also change with the time. Small kid has smaller foots, right? A tall person has a longer length of the foot. So that is the reason why foot or hand cannot be used as a standard quantity. So first point. Then the next point we have is, it should be of convenient size. it should be of convenient size, convenient in size, right? It should not be very long, it should not be very small, it should be very comfortable to use. If you see the weights of a vegetable vendors, right, they are very comfortable, they easily pick up, they easily keep it down, so very comfortable with the use. But contrary, let's say my hand is used as a meter, then is it comfortable, is it convenient in size? No. Why? Because you cannot come and take my hand away. Someone want to do measurement in the USA, can he take away my hand? It is not possible. So conveniency in size. Other example to understand the conveniency size, if anyone says that the weight of the 1 kg is this much big, then is it convenient? No. Every time 10 persons will be needed to shift it from one place to the other place. So conveniency in a size is the most important characteristics of a unit. Then third one, it should not change with time. It should not change with time. Obviously, again, if you consider the example of a foot or a hand, right, my hand, as the time grows, my hand's length may increase. If you take a small kid, right, his length of the hands keeps on increasing till he is an adult. Again, the foot also keeps on changing, so it should not change with the time, right? Then the next point we have, it should be easily reproduced. So again, if you consider the weights of a vegetable vendor, right, they are easy to reproduce. Every vegetable vendor has those standard weights. Grocery shop also has a standard weights. However, nowadays digital weighing machines have come, right, but still it should be easily reproduced, right? Meter scale, so you can find meter scale in everyone's home. Even being a student, you have a 30 centimeter scale, right? So it should be easily reproduced. Then the next point is, it should be non-perishable. Already I have mentioned that point here, but I'll explain it here. Non-perishable, it is also most important. Non-perishable means non-destructive. Non-destructive. So is our meter scale non-destructive? Are the weights used by the vegetable vendor non-destructive? So non-perishable does not mean that the meter scale cannot break or the weighing standard weights cannot rust out or cannot be broken. Non-perishable or non-destructive means the definition of a 1 kg, which we will see in the next section. So as per the scientist, they said that what exactly is 1 kg. So they said that there is one small cylinder of platinum and iridium alloy. That small cylinder, it is exactly 1 kg, and that small platinum iridium cylinder, it is non-destructible. Non-destructible means it will remain as it is for centuries and centuries to come. Our meter scale, will it remain for centuries and centuries to come? No. If it is made up of metal, it will rust out, markings on it will get erased, right? If it is made up of wood, it may break. The standard weights used by the vegetable vendors, they also get rusted out, right? Wear and tear is obviously there. So non-perishable or non-destructible means, right, the standard quantity which was given by the scientist, as I said about the platinum iridium cylinder, right? So that cylinder, it is non-perishable, non-destructible. So these are the 5 important characteristics which a unit should have. So now you have a clear reason why foot is not used to measure the length, right? Why pendulum is not used to measure the length. Again, pendulum also keeps on changing. I can make a pendulum this much long, you can make a pendulum as tall as the building, right? So that is the reason why we have this characteristics. So based on these characteristics, we have standard 1 second. What is exactly 1 second? We'll see. What is exactly 1 meter? That also we will see. And what exactly is 1 kg? So let us see that. So the topic will be definition of standard units, right? So first one I will take is kilogram. So what is a definition of a kilogram? What do you call exactly a 1 kilogram? Can you say that the weights used by the vegetable vendor is exactly 1 kg? No, I don't think so, because we don't trust them. Can you say the grocery shop, the digital weighing machine which it has, if you keep a 1 kg over it, or let's say some grocery of 1 kg, do you trust that the digital measurement given by that machine is exactly 1 kg? So again, we always have a doubt whether we have been cheated or not. So what is exactly 1 kg? So just now I had explained you that 1 kg, it is defined as, it is a mass of platinum, iridium, it is a mass of cylinder of platinum, iridium alloy kept at International Bureau of Weights and Measure. And where is this International Bureau? It is located at Sousse, which is near Paris. Its location is near Paris, and Paris, I hope you all know, it is in the France, Europe. So this is the definition of a 1 kg. Scientists, right, they made this cylinder and said that this cylinder is exactly 1 kg. So now the question here is, if you have a doubt that the grocery shop owner is cheating you, he is not giving you exactly 1 kg, what you will do? Will you go to the France, Paris, and then take this sample, come back to your home, check whether the material obtained by you are exact or not? Is it possible? It is practically not possible. So let me tell you how the weights and measures department work. So this department, right, they make samples exactly similar to this, not made up of platinum and iridium, but which are almost similar to this. Exact 1 kg samples they make. Then from the France, they send those samples to different countries. So in our country, those samples come to the Delhi. From Delhi, again they make more samples, they send to the states. They send to the districts. So Ahmedabad district also has a department of weights and measures. So now if you have a doubt whether your grocery shop owner is cheating you, you can dial phone number of a department of weights and measures. It is there in Ahmedabad. All the cities, all the districts, they have this department compulsory. So you can dial their number and give a complaint that the grocery shop owner is cheating, I have a doubt. So they will come, they will inspect. In case the shop owner is found guilty, he will be fined, he will be jailed. So that is how the standard unit, the system works. Next we have definition of the meter. What exactly is 1 meter? How much is exactly a 1 meter? So its definition is, it is defined as it is a distance traveled by light in 1/29979 458th part of second. So this much part of 1 second, in this much part of 1 second, the distance traveled by light is exactly 1 meter. Now how will you make sample from this? So let me tell you, this is a standard reference. Because we know that light its speed is never going to change, right? So based on the light, we have this definition. Since light is not going to change, it has not changed since centuries, and it will not change for the centuries to come. So that is why the meter is defined on the basis of light, that it is the distance traveled by light in this much part of 1 second, right? You should remember these digits, they are asked in objectives. So based on this definition, right, again the Department of Weights and Measures, International Bureau of Weights and Measures, it is located at the same place, right? They produce the sample, so they also produce the sample for the 1 meter, send it to the countries, from countries to the states, from state to the district. So every district also has a standard 1 meter. Whenever they go to raid any shop, they take the standard, they check, okay, exact 1 kg that digital machine is showing or not, exactly 1 meter, does their meter scale represent exact 1 meter or not, right? So that is done by the department. This is the definition of meter. There are multiple definitions of a meter, but other definitions have become old. This is the latest definition and you have to remember only this one definition. The next, third one, we have second. How will you define second? So the definition of a second also is quite typical. It is based on the wavelength of light. What do you mean by wavelength of light? Wavelength means simply colors, you can say different colors. So definition of a second is 1 second is 91926317770 transition of two hyperfine levels of cesium 133. Now this definition, it is quite difficult to understand, that the 1 second is something like this. So this is with reference to the chemistry. I'll explain you something about this. Now you know that atom has electrons, outermost orbit electrons, they jump into inner shells, then from inner shells they jump into outer shells. Electrons, they keep on moving, they keep on shifting their positions between the orbits. From last orbit they may jump inside, and when they are heated up, from inside orbit they may jump outside, right? So here this many jumpings of the electron, between two orbits, you can understand the way I am explaining for the simplicity, right? So this many jumps of the electrons between the two orbits, when this many jump occurs, then the time is said to be 1 second, right? Then apart from these 3 standard quantities, we also have 4 other standard units, right? So the fourth one is temperature, and the corresponding unit for the temperature is Kelvin. I have mentioned there that units, time, length, mass, right? But there are 4 other also that we will see in the next section, but the definition we will see now. So how do you define exactly the 1 Kelvin? So 1 Kelvin, it is defined as, it is 1 upon 273, it is 1727.116th part of thermodynamic temperature of triple point of water. Now again this is difficult to understand. So what does it mean? First I'll explain you what is triple point of water. Triple point of water, it is a temperature at which water exists simultaneously in all the 3 states. It exists in liquid state also, it exists in solid state also, it exists in gaseous state also. Have you ever seen that ice, water and the clouds, all 3 of them exist simultaneously? Have you ever seen that? Yes, in the hilly areas we see snow also, sometimes it rains also, and the clouds also we see, right? So that place has a triple point temperature. So if you take this much part of that triple point temperature, then we say temperature is exactly 1 Kelvin. You have to mug up these definitions. These values which I am showing are very important, asked for 1 marks or 2 marks in objectives, right? Then next, the 5th one which we have is 5th physical quantity or a standard quantity we have is current. Current also we measure in our everyday life. You see in our homes electricity runs. So current measurement is done, and based on that electricity bill is calculated. So current is also one of the standard units, right? Standard quantity it is. So what is the definition or what is the unit of a current? The unit of a current is ampere. How will you define 1 ampere? So the 1 ampere, it is a current, which produce force of 2 into 10 to the power minus 10 newtons per meter between two parallel wires. This definition I have simplified in my terms, right? It appears quite complex in the textbook. So what does again 1 ampere mean? So 1 ampere, when here it is written two parallel wires, so this is again one of the physical phenomenon of the physics. What is the phenomenon? The phenomenon is that if you take two wires, right, two wires, and in the two wires, two parallel wires, to keep two wires parallel to each other, and when you run a current in those two parallel wires, then the wires will be attracted towards each other. If the current is in the same direction, they will be attracted. If the current is in the opposite direction, they will be repelled, right? So based on that attraction and repulsion, if the attraction or repulsion is with this much amount of force, then the current in the wire is exactly 1 ampere. How to measure such a small force? That is up to the scientist. We should not look into it, right? So when two wires, between them the force is this, then the current inside them is called as 1 ampere. Now the question arises, if you see overhead wires, right, electricity wires, very strong current, very heavy current runs in them, why don't they get attracted? The reason is the force is very small. There is a force, but the force is very small. Fifth one, then next we have a sixth unit. So sixth one, we have the quantity is luminous intensity, right, and its unit is candela. Now what is this luminous intensity? Light. How much brightness is produced by the light? You have a bulb in your home, right? So you say, okay, the brightness is good. If the bulb is not high power bulb, then the brightness is not good. So in physics we measure the brightness in the terms of candela, and the brightness word which you use in physics, it is called as luminous intensity. So how do you define one candela? One candela, it is defined as, it is a luminous intensity in a perpendicular direction of 1 upon 60,000 square meter area of black body maintained at freezing point of platinum. Freezing point of the platinum is 2042 Kelvin. So this is again typical to understand, right? So you memorize it as it is. I'll explain you what does it mean. So this bulb, when it emits light, so let us say the bulb is here. So when it emits light, exactly this much area you take, and the area must be black in color, and the area must be in this, at this temperature, then we say that the brightness is exactly 1 candela. It is very typical, complicated to understand. You just memorize it as it is. If you are interested, even if you don't memorize this definition, it is okay, because candela is not asked. I am just showing you so that you just have a knowledge of it. Then the last quantity which we are going to study is amount of substance. This is also most commonly used. We only use kilogram, meters, seconds or Kelvin, or most of the times ampere in our everyday life, but this candela and amount of substance, they are used by scientists commonly. Amount of substance is a physical quantity and its unit is mole. You will see this in chemistry subject also. This is understandable. I'll write down its definition. It is a amount of substance which contains as many particles as they are in 0.012 kilogram of carbon 12 atom. So here, right, so if you take a carbon 12 atom, this much amount of the carbon 12 atom, and then count how many atoms are there in it. So if you count how much value you will get? The value you get is this much, 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. This many atoms will be there if you take 0.012 kg of carbon 12. This is given by scientists, not by me, right? So if this many particles of anything you take, then the amount of substance is called as a 1 mole. If you take this many grains of wheat, then you can call that exactly is a 1 mole of wheat. If you take this many atoms of oxygen, then you say it is a 1 mole of a oxygen, right? So these are the important definitions of a unit. Now we will see types of unit. Types of unit. Now units, there are so many units. We have a unit to measure pressure, we have a unit to measure velocity, right? We have a unit to measure weight, we have a unit to measure force, right? We have a unit to measure area, we have a unit to measure volume. So there are so many units. So in order to avoid the confusion and in order to make the word unit simpler, there is a classification of a unit. Units are classified into 2 categories. First category is fundamental units, and the other category is derived units, right? Here I will explain you little bit in detail. Fundamental units, right? Fundamental units, and correspondingly we have fundamental physical quantities, and we have derived physical quantities. What is this? I'll explain you. See, I have written the standard units. The standard unit represents some standard quantity. Which quantity does this kg represent? It represents mass. Which quantity does the meter represent? It represents length. Which quantity does the second represent? It represents time. Which standard quantity does the Kelvin represent? Temperature. Which standard quantity does this ampere unit represent? Current. And similarly for these two. So there are physical quantities. There are 7 fundamental physical quantities, and those 7 quantities have 7 fundamental units. And regarding the case of derived quantities, there are uncountable number of derived quantities. So first we will see the definition of fundamental units. So what do we mean by fundamental units? So fundamental units, these are the units which are independent in nature. Independent in nature means these are directly given by the scientist. And what is the definition of derived units? Derived units, they are combination of fundamental units. Ultimately they are dependable, right? They depend on fundamental units. So let us see which are the fundamental physical quantities. Corresponding to the fundamental unit, you also have a definition of fundamental physical quantities. So these are the physical quantities. Just the word unit you will replace with the physical quantity. So these are the physical quantities which are independent in nature. We have 7 fundamental quantities given by the scientist. Which are those 7 fundamental quantities? First one is mass, length, time, temperature, amount of substance, luminous intensity, current. Then sixth one luminous intensity, and the 7th one is amount of substance. And then corresponding to these 7 fundamental quantities, right? Corresponding to these 7 fundamental quantities, we have fundamental units. What is the fundamental unit of mass? Kilogram. Length, its fundamental unit is meter, symbol is m. Full word is kilogram. I'll write down symbols in the bracket. You must remember this, compulsory. Time, it is second, and the symbol is SEC. Temperature, the fundamental unit is Kelvin and the symbol is K. Small k it is. Please keep this in mind. Small k. For current it is ampere. Ampere and its symbol is capital A. This will be capital K. Sorry, it is capital K. Luminous intensity it is candela and its symbol is CD. And amount of substance, its name is mole and its symbol is mole. Right? 7 fundamental quantities given by scientists. We have seen there 7 fundamental definitions. So these were given by the scientists, and from these there are so many derived quantities. Let us see how many derived quantities we can write down. So derived physical quantities, here we have examples, so many examples. Area, right, it is a derived physical quantity. Volume, it is a derived physical quantity. Speed, it is a derived physical quantity. Acceleration, it is a derived physical quantity. Force, it is a derived physical quantity. Pressure, it is a derived physical quantity. Then there are so many. Momentum, right, torque, right, then couple, right. So these are all energy, work done. So many there are derived quantities. So these derived quantities, as I said, they are dependent on fundamental. How will you prove that area is dependent on the fundamental? So just see this. So for this derived physical quantity area, what is its derived unit? Area, we measure it in the meter square, right? Volume, we measure it in the meter cube. So see, it is a combination of 2 times meter. Volume, it is combination of 3 meters, meter and meter. Then speed, its unit is meter per second. Again, it is combination of meter and second. Acceleration, its unit is meter per second square, combination of meter and second square. Force, kg meter per second square, combination of kg meter and second square. Pressure, kg per meter second square, it is again combination of the fundamental, right? Then momentum, kg meter per second, combination 1, 2 and 3 different combination. Torque, so it will be kg meter square per second square. Then couple, again it is same as torque, couple has same unit as torque. Energy will have energy has again same unit as a torque. Energy and work done, they have a same unit. You know the formula of work done, force into distance. The force is this, and if you multiply with the distance is in meters, so it will have kg meter square per second square. So see dependency. There are many more units which you will be studying in the higher classes, right? So this is about the types of units. Boost. Next we have system of units. 2 types of the system we use. What do we mean by system of units? System of units means this is introduced to avoid the confusion. Let's say you want to buy wheat. So if you go to the grocery shop, and what will you say? Give me 1 kg of wheat. But if you go to the US, they make use of the word pound, 1 pound of grains. So see, if American comes here and ask a grocery shop owner that give me 1 pound of wheat, owner will be, grocery shop keeper will be confused, what is 1 pound? Similarly, if you go to the US and ask 1 kg of wheat, they will say 1 kg of wheat, right? And there are also some common units which we use to buy wheats. We say 1 man, right? Then there are so many commonly units which we use. But to avoid the confusion from one place to the other place, we have system of units. If you want to trade internationally, right, if you want to send goods to the other countries or get goods from the other countries, then compulsory let's say you are trading wheat, then compulsory the wheat, its quantity must be specified as per the system of units. So let us see what exactly is a system of unit. So we have a three different types of system of units. First one is MKS system. MKS system, as per MKS system, mass is compulsory measured in kilogram. Compulsory, if you want to send mangoes to the US, compulsory you have to mention on the box that this much kg, right? Then length compulsory should be specified in the meter. Then time, it should be compulsory specified in the seconds, right? If you want to send cloth to the US, or if you want to buy cloth from the US or other countries, compulsory you should specify its length in the meter. You cannot use centimeter, you cannot use millimeter, you cannot use kilometer. Compulsory meter, that is internationally accepted system. Then the second type of the system which we have is SI system. SI, it is also called as system international. Again, this is similar to the MKS. Mass is measured in kilogram, length is measured in meter, time is measured in seconds, compulsory as per SI system. In physics we make use of the SI system. Obviously we also make use of the MKS system. This MKS, sometimes it is also called as SI because it's same. Then the third one we have is CGS system. What is CGS system? So in CGS system, mass is specified in grams, then length is specified in centimeter, and then time is specified in seconds. Then the last system of unit, it is FPS. What is FPS system? This is a European system. If you want to trade in Europe, then compulsory you will have to specify this system. As per this, mass is specified in pound, length is compulsory specified in the foots, and time compulsory it should be specified in the seconds. So that is the system of units. Whenever you solve any questions, any numericals in physics, you have to use either SI system, they are one and the same, or CGS. In India we don't use FPS system. In our calculations also there are FPS system is not included, right? Then next we have other important units. Other important units means these are the units which are very much important in the science. The first unit which we have is, first one we have is astronomical unit. What is astronomical unit? It is denoted by A and small u. We know 1 AU is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter. What is the definition of astronomical unit? It is defined as, it is a distance between, it is the distance between Earth and the Sun. It is the average distance. We say average distance because we know Earth rotates in an elliptical path, distance keeps on changing. So it is a average distance between Sun and Earth. Where it is used? It is used in astronomical system. You want to measure the distance of the Earth and the Moon. Kilometers will be too long, right? So we make use of this system AU. You want to measure the distance between Earth and the Pluto, then you make use of this unit AU, right? How do you measure the distance between Earth and the Pluto? That we will see in the later part of the chapter. Then the second important unit we have is a light year. Its symbol is LY, small l and small y. What is light year? So 1 light year is equals to 9.46 into 10 to the power 15 meters. Its definition is, it is the distance traveled by light in 1 year? Let us calculate, because we know the speed of the light, we know. So, and 1 year time is also given, so we can easily calculate the distance. So if we do the calculations, then the distance, we know that distance is equals to speed into time, right? So what is the speed of the light? 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. And how much time? 1 year. But as I said, when you do calculations, compulsory use SI system. So speed is in meter per second, right? Time should be in seconds. So let us convert 1 year into seconds. 1 year has 365 days, right? Every day has 24 hours, every hour has 60 minutes, and every minute has 60 seconds. This one, when you multiply, you will get this value, 9.46 into the 10 to the power 15 meters. This is how we got exactly the light year. This is also an astronomical, this is also used related to the space when the distances are very large, right? You want to measure the distance from star, you can use AU or you can use light year. That is up to the scientist, whichever he want he can use. Then the third one we have is paralytic second. What is paralytic second? It's symbolically represented as parsec. So if we specify the distance, 1 parsec, 3.1 into 10 to the power 16, it is so large. What is the definition of the parsec? Definition is, it is the length of arc, it is the length of arc which subtends the angle of 1 second, subtends the angle of 1 second. I'll explain you what is this, because you need to understand this thing, paralytic second, because it is also useful in doing some numericals. So it is something like this, it is the length of the arc. So I'll draw one arc, right? So this arc, when it subtends an angle, exactly this angle should be equal to 1 second. This angle should be equal to 1 second. Angles are measured in degrees, right? 1 degree is equals to 60 seconds. 1 degree is 60 minute. It's divided into 60 minute, and 1 minute is again divided into 60 seconds. So from there, it is not 1 degree, it is a very, very small angle. So just imagine how large the distance is, and this distance it is called as 1 parsec. So based on this distance and based on this angle, if you make calculation, this distance is 1 astronomical unit. So this also gives the relationship between AU and paralytic second. Let me write down the relations. 1 parsec, it is 3.26 light years. Again you must remember this value. 1 parsec is equals to, no, 1 light year is equals to, 1 light year is 6.3 into 10 to the power 4 AU. 1 light year is this much AU. So these are the relationship between the units. Then the next special type of the unit we have angstrom. This is based on the scientist name angstrom, right? And we know that 1 angstrom, the symbol of the angstrom is a degree, right? A degree. Actually this should be small a. So 1 angstrom is equals to 10 to the power minus 10 meters, right? Then another unit you have a Fermi, and you should know that 1 Fermi, which is denoted by the small f, it can be denoted by the small f, right? So 1 Fermi is nothing but 10 to the power minus 15 meters. See, very, very small distance. This is for smaller distances, this is for very large distances, right? Then we have many other special units which you must remember. That is 1 hectare, it is equal to 10 to the power 4 meters square, right? Then 1 ton means, this is also a commonly used word, so you must be knowing 1 ton is 1000 kg, 1 quintal, right? It is 100 kg. Then ninth one, 1 pound, right? 1 pound, it is 0.456 kg. This is helpful in numericals, so I am writing down, you must learn them. Then 1 AMU, AMU means atomic mass unit. This is used in the case of the atomic distances, when you measure the distance between electrons or protons and electrons. So this one, or their mass, if you measure, this is to measure the mass. 1 AMU is 1.66 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. So these are the some other important units, and there are many more, but to summarize, this is enough about the other units. Then we have one shake. One shake, it is a time, right? 10 to the power minus 8 seconds. You shake your Bournvita, so one shake is 10 to the power minus 8 seconds. Then other important, then you have these words, right? Mean solar day. What do we mean by mean solar day? It is the length of the one day. Then you have another unit from the mean, another unit, mean solar day. Then the next one is lunar month. One, I will write down here its comparison. One mean solar day one solar day, you know, we take it as approximately 24 hours. Then you have a mean solar year, its value is 365, right? Mean solar year, its value is 365 into 25 days. Then you have a lunar month. Lunar month, lunar month means the time taken by the moon to go around the earth. So one lunar month is equal to 28. One lunar month, it is equals to 27.3 days. 27.3 days. So these are the units, right? Other additional units, the more you remember, more it will be helpful, but I suggest 1 2 3 4 5, up to 5 compulsory you must remember, because in physics we use them commonly, and these are for your knowledge. If you remember, they will be helpful to you. Rough karna hai. Then the next topic we have is order of magnitude. What do we mean by order of magnitude? So order of magnitude, if you write down in words, it is defined as, it is a power to which it is a power, no, okay, order of magnitude, it is exponential part of measurement. What do you mean by this? So in physics, whenever you write down any values, you might have seen the units I write down, right? So let's say I write 1 AU. How much is the 1 AU? One AU is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meters. 1 AU is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meters, right? So just see this notation. Compulsory that should be only one digit before the decimal point. X dot y into 10 to the power z. Compulsory you have to write down any measurement you make in physics in this format. So this quantity power z is called order of magnitude. Order of magnitude, right? Then next we have prefix and suffix. Some important prefix we have. So next we have multiple prefix and its symbol. This is commonly used in physics. So it is something like this: deca, hecta, kilo, mega, giga, tera, peta, exa. These are the commonly used suffix. You might have seen kilometer, megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, right? So commonly used decameter, hectameter. So what does this prefix means? Symbol is capital D, capital H, capital K, capital M, capital G, capital T, capital P, capital E. And deca means 10 to the power 1, hecta means 10 to the power 2, kilo means 10 to the power 3, mega means 6, giga means 9, tera means 12, 15 and 18. It's very easy to remember. Difference of 3 you have here, right? Then the last topic in the measurement, we have submultiples. Prefix and their symbols, right? So deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, pico, femto, atto. Symbols are small d, small c, small m. Micro, it's represented by the symbol mu, Greek alphabet mu, small m, small p, small f, small a. Submultiple powers are -1, -2, -3 for the milli, micro -6, -9, -12, -15 and -18. These are very much useful when you solve numericals. So this is the end to the chapter measurement. Whatever I have taught you, this is all theoretical knowledge, right? And very much important to study physics. You must memorize all of them, all such relations, everything you must memorize them very well. See you in the next lecture.